This is called Carol's Announcement, also known as Touchdown Jesus. In the late 90s, in my mildly roaring 20s, I took a trip to New Orleans Estate. But I want to make it clear, this is not one of those House of the Rising Sun stories. This is not about hurricanes, the drink that is, hookers, and heroin addiction. On the contrary, this is a slightly more innocent story about my first spring in Mid-City, the people I met when I moved there, and the ensuing gains and losses of those first early months. The story should start in Connecticut. I was living in South Norwalk, Sono, giving tours at a small local maritime museum, when one fine day my month-to-month basement apartment took on an inch of water from a flippant washing machine drain hose. On the same day, as a bit of bad luck would have it, my recently purchased dehumidifier was recalled for a quote-unquote serious risk of fire and or personal injury. Mr. Ashram, unplug your unit immediately. Do not use your dehumidifier until an authorized service representative has, etc. So instead of dealing with it, I drove to New Orleans to spend a week or more with my friend John, who was down visiting his parents for the new year. Within a week, I was hooked. Within 3 weeks, I found a reasonable job. Once I knew I was staying, I had no reason not to. I looked for and found a charmingly cramped third-floor efficiency in a small Creole cottage a block above Bourbon Street. But with so much more street noise than anyone could ever want, every night, I quickly developed pangs for a little more je ne sais quoi, for a little less you-know-what, in a quieter, less touristy Faubourg. More to the point, I had recently read the first half of The Moviegoer, and had grown positively absorbed by certain romantic daydreams, consistent with my age and personality type, such as searching for wonder and a level of calmness in extraordinary but sometimes less obvious places. After 8 underwhelming weeks in the quarter, noise, traffic, tourists, drunks, I moved north to a spacious apartment in Mid-City, halfway between the Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain, the two bodies of water whose opposing banks define the crescent-shaped sliver of land on which this famously shallow, wet city sits. From a rooftop, New Orleans looks like a land of lush, secret gardens. From a few thousand feet, it looks more like a narrow sandbar. I circled several apartment listings in the Times-Picayune, identified and called the one that looked most promising. The ad boasted of a 4-room shotgun with small yard and carport, $500 a month. On the phone, I heard Carol's cool, steady voice for the first time and made an appointment to tour the house. I arrived a few minutes early. Carol, my soon-to-be new landlady, was already there. She was standing on the porch with a broken-in canvas bag over her shoulder and a can of Coke held deftly from the top by 3 long fingers of a veined but tanned hand. The front door was open behind her. Her long straight hair hung down behind her head in a low ponytail. She smiled impersonally as landlady to prospective tenant and said hi. "Are you?" "I'm Carol." It was a low-slung shotgun about 3 feet off the ground, painted white but flaking and mildewed. Similar, I noticed, to other houses in the neighborhood. Carol motioned me to the door. "I just redid this one. Walls, trim, paint, appliances. Outside is the last of it. Hopefully next weekend." The newness of the work was apparent. The front room smelled like paint, but also of lingering sawdust. There was a mantel on the left over a bricked-in, tin-covered fireplace, a large window on the right, and a nice indoor window above the door to the next room. A transom, Carol explained. Other immediate eye-catchers were the 10-foot ceilings and the wooden-bladed ceiling fan suspended down into the middle of the front room by a slender 2-foot gold pipe. Carol walked ahead to what would become the TV room. The door beyond led to a short hallway with doors to a closet and bathroom, both small but adequate for a person living alone. The layout worked. It was the size of my Sono and French Quarter apartments combined, and considerably less than either. I would take it. Carol further explained that the air conditioner in the kitchen window was old but still worked well. The AC in the second room was new, as was the kitchen stove, the plumbing fixtures, and the refrigerator. The renovation work was tight and well done throughout, complete with crown moldings and decorative base caps. And I was surprised to find out that aside from the plumbing and electrical, it was all Carol's handiwork. Whoever did the work did a nice job, I told her. You're looking at him, Carol answered quickly. On the cream-colored Formica counter in the kitchen, I wrote Carol a check for the security deposit. Generously, she gave me a key on the spot, even though the 1st of April was still a few days off. 2 days later, on Saturday, I brought over my meager belongings and parked my trusty, if unglamorous, Jetta under the carport.